I've got so much to say, so much to say, so much to say, like Tony Khan can't book for shit. I've got so much to say, so much to say, so much to say, and Moxley can't talk for shit. I've got so much to say, so much to say, so much to say. Why did Yuta get so much TV time? So much to say, so much to say. Why delay the inevitable? Let's get to it. I'm fine. It's a wrestling show. You can't hurt me, even though Tony Khan's booking has damaged the psyche of so many wrestling fans and likely so many wrestlers. But they won't say anything because the checks keep clearing. Thanks, guys. I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite from the Von Braun Center, Probst Arena, no less, in Mike Huntsville, Alabama. You know, I remember when Alabama used to get good wrestling shows. Fuck, Nick Goulas booked better shows than this. Nick Goulas didn't pay people well, apparently, reportedly, I guess. And I do have a lot to say about this show, and I will say right now, this is one of the worst episodes of Dynamite they've done in a while. One of the most unnecessary episodes. This felt like a late-era episode of Thunder. One that they taped after Nitro. Not even one they flew a full crew out for the next day. It literally felt like they just taped. It almost feels like they just taped this in front of an almost dead audience, at least for about 80% of the time. There were times the audience rose up, but they had 2,400 people according to WrestleTix, and the capacity for that place is between 9 and 10,000. My God. I don't expect them to sell these places out, but run smaller arenas, promote your shit better. Excalibur, Shivani, and Taz are on commentary, and I'm just going to say right now, the commentary makes me wish we had an alternate version where we could just, I don't know, hear Lance Russell and Gordon Solie call something. Any wrestling event, it doesn't matter, in history, even if it didn't line up, what moves they were calling, it still would somehow sound better than what they're doing, because Taz is on an island. Excalibur is out of his element. Shivani, bless him for all the history that he has in wrestling, going back to the Crockett days, and I find Shivani entertaining. He should not be doing this. So Will Ospreay took on Brian Cage. Brian Cage has been involved in the opening of AEW Dynamite for a bit, and I would like to know what the wrestling fans did to deserve this, because while he can do some athletic stuff, when he's in short bursts, he's fine. When he has to go an extended period of time, I remember, oh yeah, Brian Cage really doesn't have a lot of variety. He can pose, he can do a few athletic things, but good for him. Bless him for getting a big contract from Tony Khan. This got way too much TV time. Don Callis joined commentary. But before that, and before the match even started, Callis said, hey, by the way, look on the screen, Will. Oh, look, Kenny Omega got laid out. Ha, 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 ha. And then, Callis is not needed in this company. I'm sorry. He's a parody of a wrestling manager. There was a cool spot where Brian Cage did catch Will Ospreay and walked him halfway around the ring and then caught him again and hit him suplex on him. The guy's strong. He's just an idiot. Fuck Don Callis' chance. There were a lot of moves. A super F5 off the top. Archer was likely going to get tossed, but the referee, Rick Knox, is a complete fucking buffoon and doesn't toss him. But then, eventually, Cage gets sent to Archer, and in a Styles clash, out of nowhere, Cinderella story 1, 2, 3. But don't worry, that's not the end of it. You just can't leave well enough alone. And I get it, they're trying to build to a tag match. I get that. And I get after last week's very extended brawl around the goddamn arena, I get why they felt like they needed to do something, but... So, anyway, Archer attacks. So Archer and Cage are trying to, get their, heat back on Ospreay. And then Omega suddenly shows up, and Cage had about 30 seconds where he could have hit Omega, but no, he's got to wait for a spot. Hey, just wait while I hit Archer there. And then he hits him, because, God, they make Archer look like a doofus. And Cage probably, I don't know, saw a shiny light, or the hamster wheel in his goddamn head stopped spinning because the hamster probably died from all the HGH he's taken. They had to get a new hamster to run him. And then, Jesus, he hits him with a chair after, seemingly forever. But then Takeshita and Fletcher show up, which makes sense, because they're trying to build to this tag match. But by the way, Grand Slam is apparently not even going to be broadcast live. They're going to show it on delay. Which, It went from a big stadium to an arena, and now it's not even going to be on pay-per-view. Now, probably just as well, because I really don't think they were going to draw much for the pay-per-view audience, but they are going to take a goddamn bath on this. And yes, the cons have fuck tons of money. It doesn't matter to me at the end of the day, but it's got to be demoralizing to the towns, and it's demoralizing to the fans that probably wanted to see if AEW could crack into the Australian market, because it's a fresh market. It is something interesting and something unique as far as cracking into something. But I think the only crack is whatever Tony Khan is apparently ingesting. But this beatdown, it just won't end. This went on for fucking ever. And they played the music like a couple different... They played the music a couple different times. It looped. Hangman's looking for somebody backstage. I zoned out of a good amount of this show, by the way, because they're making Hangman this crazy, torn, tortured soul individual. Then he bumps past MJF, and they're trying to build that, which Hangman and MJF, to be perfectly honest, is one of the few things that they might actually get something out of. And MJF is upset and basically says that he's going to be watching the next match closely, which is Jeff Jarrett against Claudio Castagnoli. If Jeff Jarrett wins, and he gets a title shot against Moxley. Now, I had a feeling that Jarrett wasn't going to win, but the way they did it somehow made me not want to see anything else that Jeff Jarrett's involved in. Oh, look, Matchstick Yuta showed up. He looks like a burnt matchstick with that stupid goddamn hair. You know where Yuta belongs? Right where he was when he first entered the arena. Among the fans. Sit in the front row, you fucking goddamn matchstick-shaped, stick bug-shaped individual. You aren't fucking worth the television time. This guy is a charisma vacuum. He can't do anything proper. Orange Cassidy, as much as I don't like him, has a gimmick that people get into. Why the fuck has Yuta been getting so much goddamn TV time? They have so many people they could be pushing like crazy. Now, some people get hurt, but Wardlow got hurt, but they could have featured Wardlow better before he got hurt. No, Hobbs, they just basically destroyed him. They're involving him with the Jericho stuff. More on that in a bit, but no, let's give more time to Wheeler Yuta. This goddamn dweeb, this fucking dipshit that looks like he should be, quite frankly, working a retail job, because I don't care if he can do the moves. He's not good. And there's nothing wrong with working retail. He is not worth the television time they're giving him. Every goddamn time this guy appears, I think, this company needs to goddamn run just in flea markets and rec centers, because it shouldn't be drawing anybody. I guarantee if Khan tries to come back to Washington State, he's going to struggle to even fill like a 7,000 seat arena, which we don't have that many of. And Yuta, by the way, was still there. The referee tried to admonish him, but didn't kick him out. It's like, because the referees are made to look like fucking idiots, because Tony Khan can't book, because Tony Khan needs to literally be pushed against the goddamn wall and say, dude, stop fucking trying to book when you can't. And the fact that he's rich, he thinks he can do this, he can't do this, and this match proved it. The commentary is atrocious. Yuta ends up throwing a chair in the goddamn ring, which weighs more than he does, and cut a better promo. Mox runs in, hits a DDT, and then runs off. We get the neutralizer, and then another one where Jarrett kind of landed on his knees, kind of taking a bad pedigree almost. I hope Jarrett's okay. 1, 2, 3. Yes, the idea is, Mox doesn't want to face Jarrett because maybe he feels he can't beat him, or he just wants to destroy everybody. And if Mox was actually interesting and believable and worth a damn anymore, then yeah, this might be going somewhere that I care about, but I don't. For Double J chance, here's MJF just came to say, clocks him with the ring. I respect my elders, so I'm not going to say I told you so, but he told him so. And then Revolution, by the way, is in LA, and they have not even come close to doing like 10,000 people in a 17, 18,000 seat arena. Stop running these big arenas if you're not going to draw good crowds, because LA is a... Money aside, again, demoralizing for the crowd. Demoralizing for the crowd, more demoralizing for the wrestlers. So Renee is there with Ricochet, Rico Tate, as it were. He's getting more promo time, and the more he talks, the more I think, it's a good thing WWE didn't let this stupid motherfucker talk. Because ever since he said, I didn't come here to talk, and Drew McIntyre said, then shut up, he has never been able to be taken seriously. And heel, face, whatever, I don't care. The guy isn't interesting. Then he takes on the lovely AR Fox. That is something for a friend of mine. They get it. If Swerve interferes, by the way, the match next week is off. I am watching next week's show, and I'm saying right now, after Revolution, I'm going to assess how much more Dynamite I can stomach. How much more I'm going to be able to review. It's going to depend on views, it's going to depend on interest, and it's going to depend on how much I can stomach. Because at this point, they are driving fans like myself away. It is absolutely, it's astonishing just how bad this television is. Even though Collision isn't all that bad, all things considered, they don't have enough interest and enough stuff bubbling up that can hold people. Any of the good stuff immediately gets squashed down. Why did Fox basically hip toss himself on the apron? It was flesh on flesh at one point, according to Excalibur. A roll through cutter, he hits a 450 for 2, so that was a nice combo. Spirit Gun and Hello, Hello, and I think Vertigo is something that Rico Tate's promos give me. In fact, I'd rather have Vertigo than listen to this stupid motherfucker talk. But then he's got the scissors in his hands because they were in the corner. And then Swerve suddenly shows up and drags him and beats the shit out of him. And that's the first time the crowd really came alive besides Ospreay. Well, I mean, they chanted Double J. They would have sparks where they would come up and then that's it. And then he beats the shit out of him, but then suddenly Swerve goes for a stomp. Somehow Ricochet has completely recovered. He gets the scissors and he is holding AR Fox there, who managed to get in the position where he's held like a hostage. And then he gets out and is dragging him away while holding the scissors and then, runs away or whatever. Where are the police? By the way, they show clips of Renee interviewing Moxley and Claudio. Why has no one said to Renee, hey, Renee, why is your stupid husband doing stupid creative and why the hell are you here when you contribute nothing? I like Renee. Do not get me wrong. I was a proponent and a supporter of Renee getting, getting a job in AEW. But now I don't want to fucking see her no more. This company needs a goddamn, it needs a complete reset. They need to just let contracts expire, figure out what people they need to keep, get rid of some of these veterans that don't contribute anything, Jericho, and just do something else. But why is the title not here? Why do you need to see it? Probably because it's more interesting than anything you've done in the last 5 months, Mox. What movie did Moxley watch for this? Let me just say right now, nobody cares about what this dimwit has to say beyond mocking him, because Moxley is a joke. He's masquerading as a main eventer. He is a guy that can wrestle, that has wrestled good matches in the past, but no, now he bleeds so goddamn much to disguise the fact that he doesn't have anything else to offer. None of his promos are any good. None of this is going anywhere, and he says, oh, stop asking questions, just enjoy the ride. Well, when the ride basically ends like the one in Final Destination 3, which quite frankly is where all this Death Rider stuff deserves to go, right off a goddamn track on a roller coaster. Not a roller coaster of love, but a roller coaster that ends in bloodshed. This is something that we need to end. Khan needs to realize that if he does not do something, pivot away immediately, it's going to just get a whole lot worse. And sure, the ratings have risen up a little bit, but you know what? People are jumping off at certain points. The mock stuff is driving people away. And the reason that I focus on ratings is because if other people are going to say, oh, well, look, ratings are down everywhere, sure. But you can like WWE, you can like AEW, you can like elements of both. You can watch both like I do. But eventually the burnout factor and other stuff that just beats you down is going to get you to the point that you don't want to see even the stuff that you like. And, oh, they'll give the title to Darby. It's not going to fucking work. Nothing is going to salvage this company without a complete reset and Tony Khan stepping the fuck aside. By the way, dark match with Chris Jericho. It's on Shudder this Friday. I'll be reviewing it despite the fact Jericho can't act. Jericho talks for a long time. Hobbs is involved in this and just release Hobbs. Just release Hobbs. Because he's not recovering from this. Jay White then took on Wheeler Yuta. Speaking of people not being able to recover from this, who did Jay White piss off? Former IWGP champion, former U.S. I have never been, I think former Intercontinental champion. No, former U.S. I have never been the biggest fan of Jay White. But I recognize that Jay White is a good worker with talent. and with a fan base. Again, what does Wheeler Yuta fucking offer? He doesn't offer anything. His parents need to be brought up on goddamn war crimes for bringing him into this world. And I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't really fucking care because he is on a wrestling program masquerading as a wrestler when he's not a goddamn wrestler. 3 times as long as it needed to be with Wheeler Yuta beating the shit out of Jay White. So Jay White's toast. Give him 3 months off and maybe we'll forget about this. And Jay won with the Blade Runner in a match 3 times again as long as it needed to be. And then Jay hits another Blade Runner. And then Marina Shafir showed up. Like she has contributed any goddamn thing besides being Roddy's wife. You want to talk about nepotism. Oh, she's strong. Oh, she looks good. Good. Go look good elsewhere. You don't fucking belong in a goddamn main event program. You stupid twat. I'm really trying to not be mean-spirited. I'm really fucking trying. I have watched wrestling for coming up on 40 fucking years. And there have been plenty of bad times. This is not the worst timeline, but this is a timeline that AEW could have avoided. Look at what WCW did. Look at what WWE did with the overbearing faction warfare. But the difference is, they were drawing money, drawing big ratings. Yeah, a different time. WCW kept going back to the well to the point they poisoned the well. AEW poisoned the goddamn well probably around the time they did the Devil Story. Right around the time they lost Punk, but especially with the Devil Story concluding. Ever since then, ever since showing that footage of All In, it has been a rapid descent. But another beat down because Jay then gets attacked. Then here's Copeland, FTR. Daxon says, hey, Dennis Condrey's in the crowd. On Collision, we're going to have a Mid-South street fight. Okay, I don't know a ton about Mid-South beyond what I have read about, what footage I've seen, what I've heard from podcasts. But I know this much. I know they didn't run in Huntsville, Alabama, or Alabama in general. I don't believe they did. And if they did, they didn't run very goddamn often. So I really don't think that Mid-South, would have any meaning, as far as Alabama wrestling history. But whatever, it's fine. Tony Storm on Collision gave the performance of a lifetime. Speaking of performance of a lifetime, let's talk about somebody else giving the performance of a lifetime. You are going to calm us down because otherwise I'm going to get banned. You liked what Tony Storm had to say, didn't you? She's going to rip Mariah's tits off. Aye. So what else did Tony Storm say? Oh, she didn't say anything. Mariah May came out and said something, though. Mariah May said that, maybe, it's Huntsville. Well, maybe we should replace the H with a C. That was funny, wasn't it? That was really, really funny, wasn't it? And then, says Tony Storm, she can play whatever role she wants, but Mariah doesn't need to role play. And a bunch of simps cried out in horror. And that she is the glamour. She is the woman from hell, the woman from Heffel. She said a bad word. And now she will destroy her in Australia. Okay, jeez. Anyway, gotta give him a treat after this because he's gonna be so mad at me. I mean, that was fine for what it was. I still think that I personally would have just done it where she suddenly became Timeless Tony Storm at the goddamn big Grand Slam event, but maybe they want to do that because they're not going to be broadcasting it live because Tony Khan fucked up the whole goddamn thing. The Guns are returning. Good for them. Collision is taped. I will not be watching it, by the way, because in addition to work, I'm also going to be watching the Rumble. Maybe I'll watch it on Max later if it's worth it. We'll see. The Hurt Syndicate pre-taped. Just keep the tag titles on them and just build some good teams. Takeshita and New Japan clips. We get recaps of all these matches that happened already on the show. Bear in mind, we still have the main event. What is the main event? Well, first we have Ty Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo talking about how Harley Cameron screwed up their chances, or Deonna's chance to be in this main event. Okay, whatever. They're involving Harley. They're trying to give her something, and Ty and Deonna look good. So at least it's something. And then Mercedes Moné in the main event against Yuka Sakazaki for the TBS Championship. At least I think it was a TBS Championship. I love the Magical Genie Girl. Or Magical Girl, whatever the hell they call it. Yuka has energy, and in the right spot actually can be beneficial. Why was this in the main event with absolutely no build? Oh, Yuka won a championship shot on Collision. Okay, that's all you have? I mean, I don't mind the women being the main event. There are a time where the women should have been in the main event, and they weren't. But my God, this should not have been in the main event. This went south quickly. Very quickly. There were a couple moves where I'm like, okay, it wasn't all that bad. But they had the tumbleweed spot where, they got tangled up in the ropes almost. Yuka stumbled trying to hit the springboard splash. That happens. Look, I can knock the men and I can knock the women. It happens. It didn't look good, though. Eventually, got the moneymaker 1, 2, 3. And that was it. That was a 5 to 6 minute overrun on a show, quite frankly, that this was bad. This was really bad, and I hate to constantly get upset. But when a show is bad, I'm going to knock it. I'm going to, again, assess how I feel about Dynamite. Because after the 5th, I'm going to go back to reviewing it on delay. And then I will actually be reviewing the Dynamite live, the one before Revolution. And then after that, I don't know, guys, because it is getting really difficult. I'm already skipping some weeks of WWE. AEW may have driven me away because you put Mox, Jericho, the Death Rider stuff, you put Yuta there. They don't have a lot of good going on. They need help. And they ain't likely to get it. Agree, disagree what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rickland, and I'll see you soon.